is also good. Who else is there? 7.14. It's on the screen as well. Devi, Aditri, KG, Mega. All right. Akanksha, you for the thing? Yep, all good. Let's start. Okay. Can I get? I want someone new this time. Can I get KG Thakur to read the Sanskrit word? Devahi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye pravadyante mayam etam taranti te. So KG, if you can start.
Yes, 1 second. Yeah. Devai hai aisa gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te.
Thank you, KG. Mega, can you do the Sanskrit verse as well?
Like, just repeat the same thing?
Yes, just repeat the same thing.
Okay. Here goes my pronunciation.
That's fine. That's fine. It's all.
Devi hai esa gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite.
Hey, don't doubt yourself, man. You said it pretty. This is accurate. There was no incorrect pronunciation. Okay. Aditri, why have you turned off your camera? Can you turn on your camera and read the Sanskrit verse, please? Are you online as well?
Yeah, it was lagging on my end, that's why.
Okay, okay, not an issue. Whenever it's fine. Shohel, can you do? Okay, so the reason I get everybody to do the Sanskrit verse is Sanskrit is a very powerful language, and by constantly reciting the verse, it's like the message of the verse itself sits in the heart on its own, because Sanskrit is a very powerful. The sound vibrations of the Sanskrit language are very powerful. That's why even the mantras that we chant, which are in Sanskrit, they are also having a very powerful. In fact, the sound vibration carries a lot of energy. So that's why I try to get as many people to read the Sanskrit shloka. So can I get Shohel to do the Sanskrit shloka as well?
Of course. Devi hi aisa gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva e prapadyanti mayam etyam taranti te.
Perfect. Uh, okay. Can I get Priya, and then after that Akanksha, you can do the verse. So first Priya, then Akanksha.
वैभिहेस्य गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्याय मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां परन्ति ते.
Perfect. And Akanksha? Are you still looking for the verse, Akanksha? You can say the verse, the Sanskrit shloka. You're still on mute, by the way.
देवी होशा गुणमयी मम माया दुर्तया मा मेव ते प्रप धन्ने माया माया मेताम तरंती ते.
Perfect. Aditri, any luck with your network, or are you able to read? Or if it's not, then I can
I
just
can
move ahead.
try. I can try.
Yeah, you can try. Your
But I
camera is
don't
still okay. Okay, no
but I
issue.
don't know Sanskrit
Yeah,
at all.
that's fine. None of us do. Even I don't know Sanskrit. You just try the best. Read it.
दैवी हि ईशा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्याय मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामितां तरन्ति ते.
See, you kind of do know Sanskrit. Your pronunciations are pretty correct. So very good. We'll start. I'll just start with the pranam mantra, and then we can begin. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmitilam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapanditam हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधे कांत जगतपते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। All right. Bhagavad Gita 7.14. देवी एष गुणमाये मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मयम् एतं तरन्ति ते. So can I get Mega, can you read the synonyms? So Devi, transcendental, all the way till the day.
Yeah, sure. So Devi, transcendental. He, certainly. Esa, this. Gunamayi, consisting of the three modes of material nature. Mama, my. Maya, energy. Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome. Mam, unto me. Eva, certainly. Ye, those who. Prapadyante, surrender. Mayam etam, this illusory energy. Taranti, overcome. And te, they. So it means this. Wait, sorry, am I doing translation?
You can do that as well.
So it means this divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, just a little bit of back history in this. Before, prior to this, Krishna tells Arjuna that he is the source from of everything. Everything emanates from him. Then Arjuna makes an inquiry that if Krishna is the source of everything, then why aren't the living beings able to understand that he's the source? Why are we unable to understand Krishna and who his nature is? And then Krishna responds that because they are under the influence of material nature. And then Arjuna asks Krishna that what is the hope for living beings, us to understand Krishna basically. So in this, Krishna goes on to say that Devi hi Esha Gurnamai. Devi hi Esha Gurnamai means that in these three modes of material nature, uh, Mama Maya Duratyaya, though it's very difficult to overcome. Mam eva prapadyante. Prapadyante means people who surrender unto me. Mayam etam taranti te. Mayam etam taranti te is they are able to cross the material modes of nature very easily. Now, before we start into the purport, just to give an idea, because I'm not sure if people how familiar you are with modes of nature and Maya and all of that. So, basically, to give an idea of Maya, we all in our daily lives, everybody's has some sort of goal, some sort of desires. It may be very personal to us, and we all are trying to achieve that. And some might want to have a very good well-to-do job, a very high position in the company, earning good salary, or having a large estate, having multiple cars, having good property, having a wife, having children, having a husband, secure family. Some of us want to pick up particular professions in life. We all have these different desires. And at the end of the day, when you try to find the root of all these desires, when you try to like dig more deep and deep, the root cause of all desires is to be free of all problems, to be happy, joyful, to be free of all problems. Everybody can agree with that. Everybody would like to be free from all problems, right? No anxiety, no stress, a stress-free, problem-free life. Unfortunately, Krishna says that this material world in which we currently are is dukkhalyam ashashatam, means that it's a place full of anxieties. And why is it full of anxieties? Because as much money you can earn, as much, you can get as many cars as you want, as big a house you want, you can have even a perfect health. At the end of the day, every living being, rich, poor, from any race, any ethnicity, every living being is going to face these four problems. What are these four problems? The problems of birth, death, old age, and disease. Now you might think, okay, why is death a problem? Like, why is birth a problem? Birth is like, what's an issue with birth? So there are very detailed descriptions in our scriptures about birth, where the description, the analogy that they've given is, imagine if I put you in an airtight bag, those vacuum bags, when you're trying to like package something, you just vacuum it and it just sticks to the object very tightly. So imagine I put you in that vacuum bag, I tie you up, I turn you upside down, and I pass through very toxic gases for 9 months straight. And in the meantime, like, because you're in the mother's womb, if she eats something spicy, it's equal to like getting chili, me throwing like chili powder on your eyes and your mouth. Your eyes are burning and staying like that for 9 months. So it's given in our scriptures that birth is a very painful process. It's a lot of distress that a living being has to go through in the mother's womb for 9 months, and all of us have to go. Now, once we are born, everybody in this material nature, we go through three types of problem. What are they? So three problems that every living being goes through is: one, problem caused by nature, natural calamities. Tomorrow there's a typhoon. We see in a lot of places bushfires, large amounts of land just burned up. People who have been farming and cultivating crops, their entire crops and their earning for the year has just been burned out. Typhoon, hurricanes just destroy houses and kill millions. Floods, tsunamis, so many natural disasters, thunderstorms. So that's one sort of attack that we're getting in this material life. The second is distress caused by others. So one could be, a friend or like a close associate says something hurtful to you. Maybe it could be your own family who's causing distress to you. Maybe it could be a stranger, like you see, like there was recently a stabbing at Bondi Beach where a random guy had some mental problem, and randomly just stabbed like people on Bondi Beach. So there are a lot of cases like that. So distress caused by others. And the last one is distress caused by our own selves. Psychologists are saying within the next 20-25 years, we will have at least 80% of the world's population will be under antidepressant pills. The suicide rates are going up like crazy. It's like 15-year-olds are almost committing suicide. The age rate of committing suicide has gone down to almost that age, like 13, 14, 15, which is not a good case. So basically it's saying that people are also causing a lot of damage to themselves. Overthinking, stress, anxiety, so many issues everybody is going through, especially in the youth, working, college life. There's multiple issues. So these are the three problems that we're facing in this material world. Now, death. Now, in spite of you earning a lot of money, having a big house, everything, supposing I give you a magic wand and I say everything you want will become fulfilled, you get everything you want. At the end of the day, everybody has to die. That's the law of nature. There's nobody who can exist eternally. You can increase your lifespan by you can't even increase your lifespan, is also actually predetermined. But you can, choose to live more comfortably by having a healthy lifestyle. But the end of the day, everybody is going to die. And then there's old age. Obviously, you've seen like old age, if you have ever worked with old age centers, elderly care centers, it's very difficult. Some of them have back problems, they have difficulty getting up, they need somebody to take them to pass stool, and it's a lot of knee problems. There's always some sort of like diabetes, food restrictions. I knew one friend of mine who had his grandfather. He had like a food pipe stuck because he couldn't even chew his food, so he needed food to be like poured down his pipe. It was very difficult, he could barely get up, so he had a pipe tied around. So he basically was bedridden completely, and everything was done passing through passing pipes. It's a very difficult and painful sort of condition. So there's old age, and then there's lastly disease. You know, you go to any hospital or anything like that, it's painful to see the patients over there. There's some sort of somebody is, you know, tumors growing in, they have to cut off entire parts of their body. And you know, tuberculosis. I had a relative of mine who had water stored in his lungs because he had tuberculosis. So his lungs were unable to like give out oxygen, and they actually started collecting water, and they had to do an entire surgery. And after that, he was like, he lost half the weight that he was. He became really frail. You could like see his bones, almost that skinny he became. And food restrictions were like to the max. He had to limit the amount of water he drinks. He couldn't do like half the things we do. Like, for example, we can just go for a run. We are blessed to have this healthy body, so we can just do that. But so many people who are diseased, they don't have that privilege. So a lot of these stresses and anxieties are there. Now my question is, no matter whatever your desires are, these four things, even the scriptures affirm that these four problems are not solvable, like especially like what modern science is claiming. Like Russian scientists are trying to say that within few years we will find the cure to death. They may think so that we can find the cure to death, but if we look at history, there's nobody who can become immortal, nobody who can you know, protect themselves from death. So what is Maya? So this is the material nature, this is the material world that we're living in. And what is Maya? Maya is the illusionary energy of this material world. Now, illusionary energy means that, even Maya literally means that which is not. Something which doesn't exist, we tend to believe that it exists. So it's like if you go on a desert, you probably heard a lot of people talk about a mirage, where you see a desert and people who are very dehydrated looking for water, they all of a sudden start seeing a huge lake of water, and they start running behind it, and when they reach it, they realize it never existed. It's a mirage, it's an illusion. So that is Maya, it's illusion, that which is not. Now, before I get more into Maya, so this was like more or less giving an idea of material nature. I'll go into the modes of material nature as well. But can I get KG Thakur to read from the Supreme Personality of Godhead to let's see. Yep, till eternal. Sorry, just give me a sec. Yep, till eternal. So the highlighted part over here, Supreme Personality of Godhead till being emanations from as eternal.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal.
All right, thank you. Supreme Personality of Godhead mainly. So God has two main energies. He has innumerable energies. To categorize it broadly, there's the superior energy, which is us, the living beings, the living entity, is the supreme energy. And then there's the inferior energy, which is matter. So superior energy is spirit, and then inferior energy is matter. Now, what this purport is going on to say is that we, the superior energy, all of us, we are eternal. There's no destruction. So even though we are currently in this body is temporary, but we are eternal. It's There are other verses in the Bhagavad Gita as well, which attest to that the living entity cannot be burned by fire, cannot be wet by water, cannot be dried by air, which goes on to say basically that it's eternal. It cannot be destroyed. So this living entity which we are part of the superior energy of God. However, we have come in contact with the inferior energy, the material energy, which is this material world. And due to this, we are constantly under the influence of material energy. Sorry, just give me 1 second. uh my laptop is running out of battery. Yep, sorry about that. Yep. So the superior energy comes in contact with the inferior energy or the material energy. However, we after coming in contact, it's very difficult for us to get out of its influence. So we sort of become marginal energy. Now, to understand what is marginal energy, an example could be given that a lion, for example, is a tertiary animal. It's mainly it is found in land, and fish is an aquatic animal. It's found in water. However, a fish that somehow comes out of water and is stuck in land, now that is a marginal. That's what marginal energy is. Where even though we are superior energy, we are part of spirit, we are spirit soul, we come into contact with this material nature, and then because of this material nature, the more we come in contact to it, the more we get under influence of it, and we are covered by this material energy, and because of that we are unable to come out of his influence. Now if we read the later purports, it's also given why we are unable to get out of this influence. So can I get Shohail to read from the living entities to, let us see. Divine will. Or actually, it will overcome this part.
The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to the contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called the Nitya Baddha, or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome.
It's given that the living entity due to accumulations, and we are also subjected to the three modes of material nature. Now what are I'll touch on this next class in detail about the three modes of, because this is a very interesting topic, but in brief there are three main modes of material nature which is given in the Bhagavad Gita. First is Sattvagun, which is uh, people who are really in knowledge, have we can say, for example, scientists, people who are reading scriptures, people who are basically knowledgeable and happy. That's the main characteristic of Sattvagun or mode of goodness. Rajogun or mode of passion. Now, in this, a good example to see is people who are very active, material desires to do sense. Good example of this is monkey. You have seen a monkey. Have you guys seen a monkey before? KG, Shohel, Mega, you've not seen a monkey. What about Priya? Okay, all of you have seen a monkey. Now, have you seen how active a monkey is, always jumping around doing something? I recently went back to India. Like if you go to Vrindavan, especially, the monkeys over there super active. They'll be jumping from one tree to another. Somebody missed food, carrying food, immediately run, jump. So basically, they're extra active, but they're only causing chaos. So that's one way of defining people in modes of passion. People of modes of passion is working very active, but for material gains. People who are like, I want a big house, big that, and then with that money, I want to start big businesses. With that money, I want to gratify my senses. Buy expensive alcohol, buy good food, and all that. It's just sense gratification. Why is sense gratification wrong? Because again, like it's given in this purport over here, it we get more and more caught up in material nature. It's like a spider web. When an insect gets trapped into it, the more he tries to like fiddle around, the more he tries to escape, he gets more and more entangled in that spider web. So it's similar with us. The more we try to associate with material nature, the more and more we get entrapped by it. And because of this, the soul is unable to overcome these material natures. The last one is the mode of ignorance or tamogun. Now, the mode of ignorance, the people are usually defined as lazy, ignorant, and delusional. People who are always intoxicated, people who, so basically, the people in Rajogun or modes of passion, at least they're active. Like, even though they're working hard for the wrong things, but they are still active. But people in Tamogun, they are not even active, they're just lazy. They just spend all the time like animals. It's an animalistic lifetime. That is tamogun. So these are the three modes of nature. Now you may think, okay, what I think that if I go into satogun, a mode of goodness, I'm still good, because the other two don't sound really pleasing. Satogun, mode of goodness, is good, but it's compared to having, like, if I put all of you, if we put you in jail, and I say, what type of handcuffs would you like? Would you like golden handcuffs? Would you like silver handcuffs? Or would you like iron handcuffs? Well, you can wear gold as much as you want. You're still in jail. You're bound by the handcuff. Similarly, the actual answer is to go beyond this, to be free from this, to be free from this material nature. So if you look around you, again, I want to touch on detail. So next class, I'll go on the three modes of material nature because it's a very interesting topic. But all of us, if you look around, you can put everybody in these three categories. Either they're in the mode of goodness, which is people who are knowledgeable and are happy; mode of passion, who are extra active but working for sense gratification; or ignorant, delusional, and and the mode of darkness, a mode of ignorance. So these are the three modes of material nature. But a living entity is unable to overcome this. It's very difficult to overcome this. And why is this difficult? This is also given because once it cannot overcome. Okay, where did he retell? Internally conditioned. Let us do. Can I get Mega to read from yeah, till manifestation. Sorry, I'll just highlight that again.
No one can
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I'm just making it easy for you. Yeah.
no one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation.
Actually, can you read till the end of the paragraph, to till the Upanishad, the
Yeah,
Vedas to the
yeah.
Upanishad? Yeah.
The Vedas confirm this as follows. Mayam tu Prakritim Vidyanmayanam tu Maheswaram. Although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheswara, the supreme controller. Svetasvatara Upanishad 4:10.
Thank you, Megha. So yes, now you might be thinking, well, since matter is inferior energy of the Lord, how is it so powerful that it's binding us for eternity, for years and years to say, God knows how many births we have gone through, how many lives we've passed through, how people are still stuck and so identified with matter. How is this possible, even though it's inferior energy? And it's given over here that because it is directed by the supreme will of the divine being, that is Krishna, that is the supreme Lord, the supreme personality of God. And that's why Krishna is called Maheshwara, the supreme controller. He is controlling it. Now, a good way to example, even though the energy is inferior, for example, I give you, there's a boxing glove which is completely tattered, torn apart, but it's worn by a heavyweight. How many of you know Floyd Mayweather? Anybody knows Floyd Mayweather, the boxer? Yes. Shohei KG. Yes, Floyd Mayweather. So if I give a very torn, tattered boxing glove, but Floyd Mayweather is wearing that, he's still gonna beat you. It's not like just because the glove is inferior to you might be wearing a very posh, branded, well-stitched glove. It's not gonna make any difference because the controller behind it is supreme. Similarly, this inferior energy, the Maya, is working in accordance to the supreme will. And now you may ask, if Lord loves us so much and if our eternal relationship with Him is a loving exchange, why is it that He's putting me through so much difficulty? To understand how painful Maya is, take a second and think about any like dark, depressing moment of your life, any time where you were in complete turmoil, in complete distress. Know deep down that all of that was nothing but Maya. All of that was illusionary energy. Prabhupada used to say that we need to be fearful of Maya. We are not fearful of Maya. He used to preach in Western countries, and he said, the problem with you guys is you underestimate the power of Maya. Maya is so powerful that even, the most highest beings, even beings like Lord Shiva, even they come under the influence of it. So Maya is actually very powerful, and Maya is the illusionary energy. It gives you an idea that okay, maybe this will not give me. Aditi, you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Yeah, did Lord Shiva also come under influence of Maya?
Yes, yes. Lord Shiva also came under. So I'll just touch on that at the end. So in the last paragraph that's mentioned. But yes, so Maya, Aditri, to make it simplified for you, is controlled by the Supreme Personality of Lord Krishna. Maya works in accordance to his desire. And all the living entities that are in this world, Lord Brahma also is a Jiva, is a living entity. Even he comes under the influence of Maya. There are multiple stories of this. Even in Krishna Leela, when Krishna when Brahma wanted to see, he couldn't believe that Krishna was the supreme personality of Godhead. So he hid all the cowherd boys and the calves, and then Krishna, because basically he was in Maya, he was unable to understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Lord. And then Krishna, through his mystical power, he expanded himself to become all the boys and the calves that Brahma had hidden. And then when Brahma came back, he realized that, oh, this is actually the supreme Lord. And then he fell and he offered prayers. So basically, and there are multiple stories. This is just one of the stories. There are numerous stories, even of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, that and demigods, Indra, Chandra, all of them are kind of under the influence of Maya. They may not be as much as us, because they are in charge of they are personified as the mode of so Lord Shiva is personified as the mode of ignorance. He's in charge of the people in mode of ignorance. Lord Brahma is Rajsik, or people in mode of passion, and Lord Vishnu is in the mode of goodness. So basically that even these entities come under the influence of Maya is very difficult to overcome. And how is it? Because Maya gives you that trick that you do this, it will be fine. Like for example, you are on a very strict diet, right? And you say that, okay, I'm going to completely stop sugar. I'm not going to eat any sugar. But then so all of a sudden you see a sweet in front of you. Somebody brings in like some nice cake or pastry or something like that, and Maya will keep on telling you, oh, have it. What's the harm? It's just one pastry. It's just one cake. And then you tend to listen to that, and then you fall into that trap. Maya is like a spider. It keeps on setting up new webs, different ways to trap you in it. So Maya so many people fall into this illusion. And Maya gives you this idea that by doing an X amount of work, or gaining X amount of status or money or whatever, it will free you from distress. That's the illusion that Maya gives. And even though we fall into this trap, we believe this and we fall into this. How many of you have watched the TV show Friends? Have you seen Friends? Yep, obviously Priya seen it. Okay. Friends, basically, there's this very popular character, Chandler, who his real name is Matthew Perry, who's the actual actor. And Friends was like a phenomenal TV show. It used to make $1 million per show, per episode. It was like it was killing in the 90s. And all of the actors were like very very rich, like insanely rich. If you see their houses, they are like tennis courts and like sea facing. They are insanely rich. And you would think that, okay, a person who has a tennis court and a, beach facing house in California and driving in a Porsche and a Ferrari, he's living the life. He has no distress. He has no happen like no reason to be unhappy. He is what I'm aspiring to be. I want to work hard so that I can live that luxurious, posh life. But Matthew Perry, in spite of having all that fame, all of that, he was he recently he passed away because of a drug overdose. He was constantly in interviews. He used to say, "I'm unable to come off my alcohol addiction and all, unable to come off my drug addiction." And he just died of a drug overdose. This is not one case. You'll see so many. Robin Williams, another famous American actor, he committed suicide. He had refused to go on Google and you search Robin Williams and you see the movies. All of them are like 5-star ratings and very hit movies. This is a very very prominent actor, very famous. Even he committed suicide. So that just goes on to say that that's the influence of Maya, that's the influence of power. It makes you think that, okay, maybe I can do this and this will free me from my problems. But then after that, once you do that, it tricks you. It's like, why did you do that? So that's Maya, and we constantly in our daily lives we are attacked by Maya. Maya is very powerful. If you go on Google and you search God, Lord Durga, Goddess Durga, that is the Maya personified. She has a Trishulam. So Maya is also like that. It attacks you with those threefold material problems that I just described. Maya is very difficult to overcome. Now, one must think that why is Maya so powerful? Why am I tortured by Maya like this? Why is God torturing me like this? And I think Prabhupada gave the best example for this. For example, a father is there and he has a child who is not good in studies. He's not listening to the father at all because the father, he knows that he has a loving relationship with the father. The father is not going to, he's my father at the end of the day. What will he tell me? So he doesn't take his studies seriously. He just plays around. Now the father is concerned for him that this guy is not paying any attention to his studies. I don't know if he'll get good grades. He might fail. So what the father does, he gets a strict tutor to sit with the child, and the strict tutor is like the third party. He's neutral. So he just is very strict with the child and disciplines him, and eventually the child passes through his childishness, and then he understands, okay, I need to work now. I need to understand where I'm going wrong, and he basically abides by the rules and regulations. The same thing could not be done with the father, because the father, he still believes has a loving eternal relationship with the father. But with the tutor, he has to be disciplined, because tutor has no love. His tutor is like a third party. So similarly, God, he is always trying to give us good advice, trying to show us the right path. But when we tend to not listen to him, when we tend to go against his rules, against the instructions given in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, when we purposely try to do that, when we become ignorant of the message, then Maya comes into play. And Maya is unforgiving. Maya follows strict rules, and it's very easy for us to fall into Maya, and Maya is very painful. Anybody you see who's depressed, who's suicidal, just know that it's Maya. Maya is everybody, and there's nobody who can claim I'm free from Maya. Anybody who says I'm free from Maya is the person who's most in Maya. So Maya is very difficult to overcome. Now, how do we overcome this? But before that, can we get who did I leave out now? Aditri, can you still read? Are you able to read, and can you turn your camera on if your network is better?
My network is bad. I'm just in my bed.
That's fine. You can, if you're in a position to turn it on, you can turn it on. Otherwise, if you're not, then it's all good. Can you read at least?
Yes.
Yeah, can you read from uh guna to, let's do, till conditioned soul.
Okay.
Uh, yep.
Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. Um, a man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, we know how powerful Maya is by now. Maya, what it does is it teases us with temptations. People who are in smoking, like you have the habit of smoking or have the habit of drinking too much. It's exactly Maya. It keeps on tempting you. Oh, do it one last time. What's the issue? Even not. Let's not even go to like extremes like smoking, drinking. How many of us have had the experience? We start watching something on Netflix. We think we'll watch like one or two episodes, but then we just keep on watching, and by the end we're like, oh, I watched like way too much. We spend so much time on it. How many of us have had that experience? It keeps on there, just one more, what's the issue? Or while like eating, we might be eating a very palatable dish, and even though we are full, our mind keeps on teasing us, oh, do one more, one more. So Maya is like that. It tempts us with different types of sense gratification, and the more we give into Maya, the more we give into our temptations, the more tribulations it brings. Because a person who thinks that, let me do one more drink, what's the issue? Let me have one more cigarette, what's the issue? It's actually, in the long term, if you see, he might have got like 2 seconds of happiness or whatever, and he's got like eternity of this pain. He's got now cancer, family issues, this, that. There's so many. Maya, at the end of the day, it gives you some temptation, and then once you give in to the temptation, it brings in tribulations. Aditri, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry again. I love Lord Shiva a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so before I forget, can you just tell the story at which Lord Shiva was affected by Maya? Because it's very hard for me to believe.
So Lord Shiva actually is complicated, and I completely get. I'm also a very big devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is kind of complicated to understand because he falls into the marginal energy. Aditri, do you mind if I can tell you the story at the end of the class, because I will lose my flow then, because this story will completely divert me. I want to get to the point, and if you see, the last paragraph actually mentions this, so I'll just let you know about that story. So yeah, Lord Shiva is kind of complicated because he falls into marginal energy. Even though he's a spiritual personality, at the same time, he is also under the condition of Maya. He's not as us. He's not a living in like condition as us. We are conditioned souls. However, Lord Shiva also is not completely free from Maya. That's the short version of it. I'll go into detail later on. So that is Maya. Maya keeps on giving us temptations and then brings us tribulations in our life. Now, how do we get out of Maya? We have seen that we are constantly attacked by the three modes of material nature. And how do we, give out of Maya? Uh, Now, for example, uh, you should know one thing, that the reason why you're causing this suffering is happening to you is also because of our own doings, our own karma. It's not because God is punishing us. For example, if you're in a well which is like 100 feet deep, and you're stuck at the bottom of it and you want to come out, one option is you can now try to climb on your own. You can climb brick by brick and try to climb the 100 feet, which God knows how long will it take you if you even make it out. It's almost impossible. Or else you have a friend outside who's shouting, hey, can you hear me? I've got a rope. Why don't you hold this rope and come? But we are so arrogant, we're so ignorant that we're like, no, I don't want your rope. I'll come out on my own. I can do it. And then we keep on trying and we just fall more deeper and deeper and we get stuck into it. So similarly, that's how we get out of get out of Maya, is by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, because the Supreme Lord is eventually the controller of Maya. For example, if you go into a house which says beware of dog, you go into your neighbor's house, he has a dog who, the second you walk into his garden, the dog chases at you, and he starts barking at you and he's about to attack you. And what do? You don't tell the dog, oh, please stop barking at me. The dog won't understand. He'll just bark more and more. You have to call out to the owner that, hey, please, your dog is barking at me. Can you please control him? And then the owner will call out, Tommy, come here, sit down. So similarly, you to stop being attacked by Maya, you need to call out to the controller of Maya, which is Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead. When you surrender into Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, when you surrender unto him, then he directs Maya to release the conditioned soul. It can only be done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or by a bona fide representative or a spiritual master. So, basically, a guru who comes under the disciplic succession, which is originated by Krishna. Now, all decide, Guru Paramparas, this is again a big topic, but to keep it in short, the original source is Krishna. Krishna has given out this knowledge. And then if you see any Guru Parampara, like even for ISKCON, when you see Prabhupada's Guru, and then you go to his Guru and his Guru's Guru, you can eventually trace back all the Gurus back to Krishna, the original source of all this information. So a person, a living entity, can only be released from Maya, from the influence of illusionary energy, when it is directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his bona fide representative or spiritual master, which can release the conditional soul. Now, can I get, who did I left? I think, let's see, Akanksha, can you read? Therefore, no, I think we did this. Can you do without such superior help to um, just do the end of the
Okay.
paragraph.
Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusionary energy, can order his insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender onto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature.
All right, thank you. So, without such superior help, one cannot be freed. Now, supposing you are tied by ropes, somebody has tied you by hand and leg, you're bound by ropes. The only person who can free you, logically, if you think about it, is someone who's not tied by ropes. If the other person also is tied by ropes on his hand and leg, he cannot free you. Only person who can do it is free from that. And who's free from Maya or illusionary energy? That is Lord Krishna, or a pure devotee, a surrendered soul of Lord Krishna. Because when somebody is completely surrendered, Lord Krishna can instruct Maya to be released from that person. Why? Because Lord Krishna has a parental affection. Because at the end of the day, all of us, we are beloved children of the Lord. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and we are his children. The Lord is the Supreme Father, and we are his children. So when the Lord orders us to okay, when we surrender into the Lord, he can order the illusionary energy to release the conditional soul. Hence we can fully fall into his surrender and get free from the clutches. Now, the reason I said a bound person cannot bound another bound person is basically you'll see a lot of people basically cheating. They try to scam you that, okay, you give me $300, I'll get you liberated from this world. And you'll see a lot of fake gurus. But we cannot listen to just anyone, because they are also they're treating you, not knowing that they are themselves in Maya, and they're also cheating you, and you are also falling under the traps of Maya. So we should go to somebody who's bona fide, somebody whose knowledge can be traced back to ancient scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, whose each word is validated by scriptures, ancient scriptures. Otherwise, anybody can make up their own, concocted ideas of how to escape Maya and do this and that. But it has no validation, it has no proof. It can only be done by Krishna. Even Lord Shiva can not be free from Maya. So, what to talk about an ordinary human being? Only by the order of Krishna, or somebody who's a pure devotee, a completely surrendered soul, who has no material desire, who's completely surrendered his soul to the lotus feet of Krishna. Only he can get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. One example, I can give you a short story on what Maya is and how Maya doesn't spare anyone. Is when once Krishna, and how many of you know Narad Muni? Narad Muni, Narayan, Narayan, you must have seen in like cartoons. Yeah, Narad Muni was basically a very pure devotee of the Lord, and he's Lord had first instructed the Gita long ago, since the creation of the universe, to Lord Brahma. From Lord Brahma is the guru of Narada Muni. who Narada Muni is basically in eternal knowledge, and he's blissful, and he's an eternal being full of knowledge, and he's always blissful because he's always talking about the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So Narada Muni once was talking to Krishna, and he tells him that, Krishna, you keep on talking about this Maya energy of yours. What is this Maya energy? Why is it so powerful? I want to know more about Maya. And Krishna says, leave it. That's a very complicated topic. Why do you want to get into it unnecessarily? Let's just go on. And they were just walking through a desert. And Narada Muni keeps on, insisting that, no, please explain me what is Maya. I'm very interested in knowing what is Maya. Please tell me what is Maya. So then Krishna says, okay, you know what? He stops him, and then he says that, uh, okay, do one thing. We are in a desert. Can you please fetch me a bottle of water? Sorry, a jug of water. So Narada Muni says, okay, I'll just bring that. He follows the order of Krishna. He goes into the desert to find a jug of water. And while he's unable to find it because obviously in a desert, where will you find water? Finally, he comes to the small hut. And when he goes to the hut, he knocks on the door, and the lady who sees him, Narada Muni is a very renowned personality. He can travel through any loka, anywhere. He's not constricted by time, place, anything like that. So everybody's heard of Narada Muni. So when she sees that such a great sage like Narada Muni has come, she falls at his feet. She, says she welcomes him, gives offers him very royally, treats him, puts washes his feet, everything like that. And then she says that you're such a blessed personality, and can you please, like, she wanted to marry Narada Muni. She was that fascinated with Narada Muni. She respected and worshipped him that much. And Narada Muni cannot say no to anyone, so he got married to her. They had a nice family. Now she was staying in a hut, so Narada Muni, along with him, single-handedly, he brick by brick constructed a very beautiful palatial house, and in that house they got married. They had children, and they used to go to different places and have very loving time with their family. When Narada Muni used to bathe his children in the water, play with them, they used to splash water on him. He used to splash water on them. His wife used to cook good food for him. He was living like such a happy, peaceful family life. And one day, they were all playing in the water, and all of a sudden there was a huge hurricane, and that hurricane came, and it blew apart his palatial house. It completely destroyed it. And then in that there was a tornado that came, and that ate up, like, took away his wife, his children. And Narada Muni was in complete distress. He just held his head and started screaming, "Oh, oh my wife, oh my children, oh my house!" And he started weeping and sobbing. And he didn't know what to do. He just started screaming that, "Oh my God, what has happened?" And then all of a sudden, when he just screamed, everything disappeared, and Krishna was standing in front of him, and I said, Narada, what happened to the jug of water that you were going to get? And then Narada Muni just realized that that is Maya. This entire thing was just an illusion. It was just created. And he got so entrapped into it that he started believing that he was already married. He had got so identified with matter. He got so identified with these material relations that he had, that he started believing it. And then he completely forgot that actually he was with Krishna, and he was going to fetch a water. He was serving Krishna. That is exactly the condition of us. It's said in the scriptures that once we come out of this material world, it's like a bad dream. We just come out, all of a sudden we wake up from the sleeping condition of material life, and we go back to our original position. So that's how powerful Maya is. It even a personality like Narada Muni falls into it. So what to talk about us? When we completely surrender to Maya, then Krishna can release us from this. Because Krishna, at the end of the day, his objective is not to torture us. His objective is not to punish us, to cause pain and anxiety to us. Our own actions are causing that, and our jealousy and our desire to be away, exist separately from Krishna, is what's causing our pain. For example, you have this hand. As long as this thumb is connected to your body, it's very useful, right? Now if you chop off this thumb and I give you this thumb, it's of no use. It might be fallen on the ground, 10 people might stamp onto it. It's not affecting you because it's in separation with you. Similarly, the reason why this conditional soul is suffering is because of its separation from Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when we are separated, we take on false identities. We come into contact with material nature, and then we start identifying with things around you. Nobody actually told you that you are Sohail, you are Megha, you are KG Thakur, you are Akanksha. You were told this in childhood. Somebody woke you up, oh, you are Sohail, say Sohail, okay. You are from this country, you are from this place. Keep on repeating that. All throughout your life, you just kept on taking more and more and more identities, and you started believing that you're those identities. And the nature of mind is such, whatever identity it takes up, it gets very defensive about it. So that's what we're doing. We try to protect our identities even more. That's why you'll see people are so proud of their job titles. Oh, I'm this the sales manager of this region. I'm a regional sales manager. The second they lose their job, they're all in distress. Oh my god, I lost my position, because now they're in conflict with their own identity. They don't know who they are. So that is Maya. The idea is to know our real position, which is we are souls that are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are basically children of God. When we understand this and we make an effort, we surrender to God, then God Himself saves us from the clutches of Maya and gives us the knowledge to come out of it. And God can come in many forms. God can also come in the form of guru. God can come in the form of knowledge in the book. So God can appear. Once we take His knowledge and we surrender onto it, we can escape that. Easy way to understand it, an example which I can give is, in a country, every country goes by some sort of law. Now, as long if you completely good think that I am independent from that law, I can act however I feel like, the law will be after you, the government will be after you, the police will be after you. You try to break the law, the police will be behind your back. The same similarly, if you surrender to the law, if you accept the law and you abide by it and you follow by the instructions of the law, the police, even though they might be right in front of you, they'll have no business with you. They'll not interfere with your life. Same with Maya. As long as you're willing to follow the instructions of the God, of Lord, as long as you like, if you're in the well and Lord gives you the rope, as long as you surrender to Lord and you take the rope and you ascend it, you will never be free from Maya. You can try your best, you will keep on being fallen into the clutches. But when you surrender into the God and His instructions, then God has no business, hurting you with Maya. He'll release you from Maya, because Maya also is the servant of the Lord. It works according to the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It works according to His desire. So that is how we can understand how what Maya is and how we can be free from Maya. So otherwise we are always in contact. It's consisting of the three modes of material nature. All of us, we are either in tamogun, satogun, rajogun. We are either in goodness, passion, or ignorance. We are constantly attacked by this. Even goodness you might think is very good, but goodness can also lead to pride. Now one can think, you know what, I'm very knowledgeable, I'm very happy, look at these fools. And then that pride might just, every mode of nature eventually has a possibility of you slipping down. A passionate person, like for example, a businessman is a very passionate person. Supposing his business doesn't work, he's been working for like 5 6 years and his business fails, all he's in huge losses amount, he's in debt. What will happen? You think he'll be still passionate? He'll become like we see so many times, they start doing drugs and all of that. They fall into from passion to mode of ignorance. So there's always a chance of falling. And when we are stuck and controlled by these modes of material nature, then again we are continuously have the possibility of birth and rebirth. We are basically chained more and more by Maya, and this chain can only be broken by the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if we are willing to surrender to Him, surrender to His instructions, surrender to the knowledge and Bhagavad Gita. Now can I get who? I think I left Priya. Priya, can you read the words Mam Eva till let's see, Maya. Aditri, this is the part that I was talking about. I'll get you to read the last part, but till then, Priya, can you read from the words to Maya?
The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu, only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna, passion, and Tamoguna, ignorance, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya.
Correct. You also missed the last. Can you go to the next one? In other words,
I did.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. In
that's
other
all.
words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya.
Yes. So, Aditri, that answers your question. I'll get into the story as well. But yes, Mam Eva is also very significant. Mam means, so this is Krishna reciting the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is giving the verse. So Krishna says, Mam eva prapadyante. Mam means me. Eva means person who, certainly those who surrender onto me. Prapadyante is surrender. So people who surrender onto me and me only, they are released from the clutches of Maya. So basically, people who surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only they can be. So a lot of people, they worship demigods, they worship all sorts of things. In today's time, people think, I've read this new concept that's come out, the art of manifestation, where you think something and you keep on repeating that, and then it will come true. It can come true, it may even work, but it's not going to get you out of the clutches of Maya. It's going to in fact put you more in Maya, because now you think, okay, I am able to manifest anything I feel like, and you do more of that. There's so many techniques, so many people. Somebody says that, you work out and all, you'll be free from all your problems. A healthy body is a healthy mind. Okay, you can have a healthy body, healthy mind, completely agree with that. That's again not going to release you from birth, death, old age and disease. You're still going to be stuck with it. All these, so many people, you go on the internet, there are 200 of these rascals who are trying to give you some fake sort of $600 course, and they'll tell you, do this, do that, and you will be free from all your anxiety. Those people are in the most anxiety because they themselves don't know, because they are making their own assumptions. It doesn't work like that. Ancient scriptures are given for a reason, because it is eternal knowledge. It will be true 500 years ago, it will be true today, it will be true in the future. It's eternal knowledge. So when someone surrenders unto me only, and not into some fraudulent guru or some demigod like people now worship in India, especially anybody who's from India background. There's a god for everything. Like person who wants money, he'll start worshipping goddess Lakshmi. Person who wants to get good marks in his exam will start worshipping Lord Saraswati. Person who wants some sort of material desire will start worshipping Lord Shiva. There are multiple demigods for every purpose, and that is like one reason why so many people, even in India, that's the land of spirituality, are so confused, are so lost now. There's so much topsy-turvy in that, because nobody's clear on what the ultimate goal is. Krishna very clearly says the ultimate goal of this human life is to get rid of this disease of old age, birth, death and disease. And we have given this intelligence. I cannot preach a Bhagavad Gita to the dog. The dog will just stare and continue to do its thing, because dog doesn't have the intelligence. Only a human being possesses this intelligence. Now we can either use this intelligence to understand our true nature and the nature of God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is why we have been given this intelligence, or we can do what the rest of the world is doing. Most of the people are using their intelligence to do sense gratificatory stuff, like animalistic things in a more intelligent way. Animal has to, like a crow has to look into trash and find a piece of rotten food. We can just order it on Uber Eats. That's the only difference. We have created very nice and scientific technologies to do animalistic things, but this human intelligence is not that. It's to do something beyond that. It's a possibility, after millions of lifetimes, where we have been given this possibility to come out of this clutches of Maya, come out of this material world, where we can get out of this contamination of matter and go back into our true essential spiritual nature. That is the possibility that we're given in this human life, and that can only be done by the help of the Supreme Personality of Lord when we surrender into Him. And it is not, now the second part which Aditri was asking about, is it possible for Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to release us from the clutches of Maya? A lot of people, like in India also, there's a misconception that the world is created by Lord Brahma, maintained by Lord Vishnu, and then destroyed by Lord Shiva. But in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna talks about the originality of this, that everything eventually emanate from him. Krishna was the source of everything. Even Lord Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva are expansions of Lord Krishna only, and they are all given particular department. So Lord Shiva has been given assigned the department of people who are in the tamogun, people who are in the mode of ignorance. Lord Brahma has been given the department of people who are in rajogun, or passionate people, and Lord Vishnu is the maintainer, people who are in the mode of goodness. Lord Vishnu is another expansion of Krishna only, so he only Lord Vishnu or Krishna can release you from this. Now, why Lord Shiva? So, if you wanted to know the story, uh, do you know Aditri about Mohini Murti of Lord Vishnu? You know
Yeah,
the some.
I just searched online and then it gave me the same information. Like it said me that Lord Shiva got um had a soft heart for Mohini. Is it
Correct.
because of
So
that?
yeah, that is one of the stories. Now, the reason why Lord Shiva doesn't fall into the trap of Maya very easily is because he is doing everything that Lord Krishna says how to get rid of Maya, which is he's completely surrendered to Lord Krishna. If you see Lord Shiva's Ishta Devata, he's called Rameshwara. Rameshwara means one who worships Lord Ram. He is constantly chanting Ram's name. If you see a lot of Shiva lingas, people write Ram, Ram, Ram all over it. And Hanuman, who was basically an incarnation of Lord Shiva, was Ramadut Hanuman. Ramadut means the servant of Lord Ram. So Shiva is an eternal servant of Lord Ram. And if you see any depictions of Lord Shiva, he's a very austere personality. He's always in meditation, always doing Nam Jap of Lord, and he's Charan Amrit, which means the after washing the feet of the Lord, the water that's there, he puts it on his head. Ganga is nothing but that. Ganga was created by the Lord after his feet was washed by Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva was so fascinated with Ganga that he wanted to keep it on his head. So they say Ganga Dharaya Namah Shivaya. Ganga Dharaya means one who has got Ganga on his jata, which is he's got braided hair, matted hair, and on his head locks he holds Ganga. That's again a very complicated story, but to give you a short understanding is Lord Shiva is a very austere and strong devotee of the Lord. Hanuman is known for being the greatest devotee of Lord Ram. Now, when the Samudra Manthan happened, where the nectar, the ocean was churned by the gods and the demigods and the demons, when the nectar came out, the few demons had got hold of this Amrit, and this Amrit would have made them eternal. Like it was a very potent Amrit. It gave them eternity, immortality basically. So a couple of demons had got hold of this, and they were about to take this. And Lord Vishnu, to trick them, he took the form of Mohini Murti, and he, sort of seduced the demons, and while they were distracted with Mohini Murti, the demigods distributed the nectar amongst themselves. Now Lord Shiva, when he heard about Mohini Murti, he was very fascinated by this expansion of the Lord. And then when he saw this, he completely was taken over by desires. Like even though Lord Shiva was free of desires, Lord Shiva completely his meditation by shooting an arrow which brings in lusty desires. When Cupid shot that, Lord Shiva just opened his third eye and he burned Cupid. He completely destroyed desires. But then all the gods and demigods prayed to him that this world cannot exist without desires. So then Lord Shiva said that okay, you can exist but without a body. So basically that goes to show you how powerful Lord Shiva is. He destroyed Cupid. But even Lord Shiva, when he found out about Mohini Murti, he was so captivated by it. He saw Mohini Murti and he, Mohini, and he, chased her for a very long time. And then finally, it took him some while to, like Lord Vishnu revealed that this is not, this is just an expansion of me, this is an incarnation of me. And then Lord Shiva, laughed at himself. He was actually happy that, okay, at least my desire was for the Lord in a indirect way. But even Lord Shiva can be trapped into, by Maya, by material desires. Lord Shiva is very unlikely to fall into that because he's a very austere personality. But again, not to get too diverted, that was like a quick way of basically trying to show you that even personalities as great as Lord Shiva, Mahadev, can be under the modes of material nature by influenced by them. Lord Shiva is for a very particular purpose. He's operating in this universe. He's there for the destruction of the universe, and he's in charge of people in Tamogun, people who cannot practice austerities or who are still in ignorance. So all his expansions also sort of, affirm that. If you see Shankaracharya and his entire line, he went for this impersonalism. even though his deep reason was even to bring in the people who were not at all, he were completely rejecting personalism, and that he brought in the idea of impersonalism. But even at the end, Shankaracharya himself says that the ultimate source of everything is Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Govinda bhajami. Even Lord Brahma says that Govinda Adi Purusha Tamaham bhajami. So both of them are affirming Govinda is Krishna. That's another name for Krishna. So all of them are affirming that at the end of the day, the master, the expansion from which everything emanates, is Lord Vishnu. Now, for example, the sun is there. Now, the sun is so powerful and strong, it radiates heat and light. Now, the heat and light are coming out of the sun. They can't exist independently from the sun. They are expansions of the sun. If the sun will cease to exist, there will be no heat and light. Similarly, we are also everything you see around you is nothing but an expansion of Lord Krishna. This glow on your face, the spirit. If you see like a photo, or if you have ever had the unfortunate occasion of seeing not an occasion, unfortunate situation of seeing a dead body, you'll see there's no glow in the face. Like every us, we have some sort of glow on our face. There's a shine in our face. A dead body doesn't have that. Why? The spiritual spark is missing. And where is the spiritual spark coming from? It's coming from the sources of all spiritual powers. That is Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, there are multiple shlokas affirming to this. So even Lord Shiva says that Mukti Pradata Sarvesam Vishnur Eva na Samasyaha, which means there is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. In fact, a lot of people say that Lord Shiva gives mukti, he's Mukteshwara and all that. But you know how Lord Shiva gives mukti? At the time of death, if somebody is devoted to Lord Shiva, he'll come and in their year or during the time of death, he'll chant the names of Ram so that the person can get liberated. Or else, again, Lord Shiva is very complicated. I can give a whole class on just Lord Shiva. There's so too many stories on him, because Lord Shiva comes under marginal energy. He's not really spiritual. He's spiritual at the same time. He's not completely material. So Lord Shiva is complicated. But without diverting from the topic too much, Mam Eva means only under the influence, only by the benediction given by Lord Krishna can one be free from Maya. So, to give you a good example, uh, now a lot of us, we don't want to, like some people who are in the mode of ignorance, they don't want to believe that Maya exists, even though they know that things are not going. Like, for example, person who's into smoking too much, even though he knows that it's going to give him cancer, even though he knows that it's not a good thing, he'll keep on, lying to himself. Oh, it's fine. One cigarette won't kill me. I had one friend, he used to smoke, but then he used to also hit the gym with me, and he used to give me this reason, I'm maintaining my body, so what will happen is I'm like balancing. I used to give me all these stupid reasons, and like a couple of months ago, I just heard back he got tuberculosis. So that's what ignorant people do. They keep on deluding themselves. The people who are in mode of ignorance, they keep on deluding themselves, and then at the end of the day, they bring in nothing but trouble for themselves. And Maya is like that. Like, for example, a rabbit, if a rabbit is being hunted by a hunter, the hunter points the gun at the rabbit. You know what the rabbit will do? It will just close its eyes and think that since I can't see the hunter, the problem doesn't exist. Same with an ostrich. If an ostrich comes and it sees that it's being attacked, you know what it will do? It will just dig its head under the ground, and it will see, as long as I cannot see the problem doesn't exist. This is what ignorance is. This is where the problem is there. We know that everybody is going to suffer these things: death, old age, disease, birth, rebirth. We know all of this. Deep down, we know that all of us are going to die one day. And our logic, our aim and objective of life is, how do I get free from these clutches? How do I stop this repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease? How do I get out of this? And ignorant people, they disagree, like they completely ignore that issue, and they go into sense gratificatory things. Just like the rabbit, it closes as long as I can't see the problem doesn't exist. And the hunter very peacefully sees, oh, the rabbit is now closed his eye, peacefully he shoots the rabbit. So it's not really helping you out. So our job is, we should make this our objective of our life, our mission in our life, that we, in this human life, we've got this intelligence. We should use it in a way by trying to understand these scriptures, which is basically nothing but Lord Krishna extending his hand to help you out from these material modes of nature. By trying to understand these scriptures, by the processes given by the gurus and shastras of chanting Hare Krishna, which we did at the beginning of the class, there are so many scriptural evidences and practical examples of people who have completely turned over their lives by chanting Hare Krishna, by reading Bhagavad Gita. All great personalities like Albert Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, these personalities everyone has heard of. Even they have referred to the Bhagavad Gita so many times. Mahatma Gandhi used to always carry the Bhagavad Gita along with him. So that's the power of Bhagavad Gita. Why do you think that is? Because at the end of the day, nothing can be possible without the helping hand of the Supreme Lord. Nothing can be done if you don't surrender to the Supreme Lord, if you don't surrender to Krishna. So we should make our objective to get rid of the clutches of Maya and to completely fall in surrenderance to Krishna. And that can come either through knowledge or by chanting or by making using this intelligence onto him. Trying to use this intelligence not to how we are using this intelligence how, oh, I'm hungry, let me order Uber Eats, let me use this coupon and get this discount. We are intelligent, we are using our intelligence but for sense gratificatory things. We can use the same intelligence to, like, we can read the Bhagavad Gita and we can, contemplate on that. That is a good use of our intelligence. We can chant Hare Krishna and we can naturally see the difference and the effect that's had in our lives. So that's a good way of using the intelligence which is bringing us to surrender to the supreme personality of Godhead. Because at the end of the day, Krishna is a very loving God. He also doesn't like us get suffering from Maya so much. But at the same time, if you break the law, you have to suffer the consequences. Similarly, Maya is neutral. It just sees, it goes according to the laws of material nature and it's very strict. If you don't abide by that, you're going to get attacked and you're going to be bound by it forever. So that is how we come off this clutches of Maya. Now, anybody has any doubts, anybody has any like corrections or arguments that okay, maybe Maya is there but it's not like this, or I don't believe in Maya, or everybody agrees that at the end of the day everybody wants to get free from the suffering, and everybody is make everybody every action that you do indirectly or directly is trying to get you out of suffering. At least that's what you think. You're trying to work because you think I can get enough money so that I can get free from suffering. I want to get good position, good marriage so that I can get free from suffering and societal problems and all of that. We all are making endeavors on that, but Krishna has given us a very clear path that you can do all these endeavors. It's just going to trap you more and more in, like I said, insect when he gets into a spider web, he gets more and more entrapped by that. Similarly, if we conditioned souls, we are, in contact with material and matter, and this material identification more and more is just going to cause suffering because Maya is very painful. Maya is very difficult to overcome. Even the best personalities cannot get rid of Maya. Like how many of you know of John F. Kennedy, the president of United States? Have you heard of John F. Kennedy? John F. Kennedy? No? John F. Kennedy was a very popular personality. You can go and research it on Google as well, and YouTube also, the videos there. John F. Kennedy had everything like one kid. He had power, he had status, he was good looking, a lot of women were attracted to him. He had a lot of followers, a lot of people respected him and would agree to him. He had a lot of influence over the country. He was the president of United States, which still is, but at that time it was even more powerful, where it was a superpower in the nation, in the world. And he was the president of that. He had so much power and influence, and everybody said this guy is living the ideal life, the perfect life. And he was coming into Texas, and while he was in that open car so that he can see all the people that have come to visit him, and he was like waving his hand and he was with his wife around, a sniper shot him, and it's on YouTube. His head literally like splits open in front of everybody. It was like a huge tragedy. So you can see that that's how Maya is, where in spite of having all this what we believe as material power and prestige and all of that, it can go in 1 second. That's Maya can give you everything you want and then just take it under your feet and you can't do anything. You're just helpless. You just now by the time you realize that you were in Maya, it's too late, it's gone. So we can use this, and all of us, I believe, nobody will be like too old. All of us, at least from what I can see in the camera, everybody looks young. So this is the perfect time, and this is the perfect chance that we've got to use this human life, this intelligent human life, to understand God. And eventually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said this, who was the incarnation of God in Kali Yuga, to make it simplified for us to understand and perform devotional service to Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jiva Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. Krishna Nitya Das means Jiva Swarup. Jiva is a living entity, which is us, living souls. Swarup is the real form, the real origin is Krishna, Nitya Das. Nitya means eternal, Das is servant. So we are all eternal servants of the Lord. We are all part and parcel of the Lord. We are all children of the Lord. And the more we use our intelligence, nobody is telling you to blindly believe it. Spend your time and your intelligence in trying to reason it out and understand this. When you read the Bhagavad Gita, each and every verse is affirming that it will fall into your logic. You can use your intelligence, contemplate on that, and you will have no questions or arguments left. Every question that you can think about is given in the Bhagavad Gita. So that's what I'm trying to request everyone and myself trying to do, is use this human intelligence not to do sense gratification more smartly, but to understand and fall into the feet of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Devi hi Esha Gurnamai, the divine energy of mind has three modes of material nature, and each individual is continuously in the cycle of and entrapped and attacked by Maya. This Mama Maya Duratyaya, which means very difficult to overcome. How do you overcome this? Mam eva pratandyante, which means once one surrenders into me, offers loving devotional service into me, mayam eti tarantite, he can easily overcome this illusionary energy. So Krishna very clearly gives the first, now he's explained what we are in this conditioned environment, how to get out of it, and everything that we know, that we need to know about how to get out of the clutches of Maya is given in this verse. Aditri, you had your hand raised.
Wait, does he remove the Maya completely?
Completely. So, like I gave that example, if a dog is barking at you, you call out to the owner. The owner will tell the dog to come here. Tommy, come here. Tommy, stop barking. Tommy will listen to the owner. Tommy will sit down. That's what God does. See, Aditri, you have to understand why is Maya also coming. God is not a sadistic personality who just thinks, oh, how do I torture Megha? How do I torture Priya today? How do I make KG Thakur's life very difficult? How do I make Shoaib's life very difficult? He has no interest in that. He is just doing this because our own actions are causing this. We are doing things against what is given in the scriptures because we are using our intelligence. Any problem, any difficulty that you have suffered in your life, if you think deep down about it and truly try to find the source of it, we'll come to know, after getting rid of a lot of arrogance and ego, that we were eventually the source, like the cause of it somehow or the other. Okay, yes, other people have roles to play and all of that, but deep down we had a part to play. It was because of our own ignorance, our own foolishness, that we somehow got into this, and now we are suffering because of that. And that's what Maya is. Maya is when person, child doesn't want to study, child wants to play around, the father has to put in a strict tutor to get the child to study. Because if the child doesn't study, he doesn't work on his career, his life is ruined, and the child is in his foolishness, he won't be able to realize. When he is, after he's done all that, he's like, okay, I was so foolish at that time, I should have done this, I didn't do that, but now I'm doing it. And when the father sees that, okay, now after everything, the child is actually putting in the work, he's actually making an effort, he's studying, then the father will not be strict with him. He'll not even like even the tutor won't be strict with him. The entire objective is to get the conditions told to first. If God actually gives you what you want, but he'll give it to you in such a way that you'll never want it again. You want a girlfriend, he'll give you a girlfriend, he'll give you a very amazing dating life, but at the end of the day, it will end up in such a way that you will never desire that again, like anything like that. If you want alcohol, person will be drinking alcohol, will be thinking, ah, I'm living the best life. But then you see the same alcoholics, they are having their family leaves them, they are abandoned in society, they lose their job, they go into depression. So he gives you, he says, okay, you like drinking, you drink more, and then he just leaves it. Like supposing you're in the well again, and the God is giving you the ropes, you say, I don't want the ropes. God will say, okay, then you stay in the well, what can I do? I can try my best. At the end of the day, you have to make that choice. Similarly, we have to use this intelligence. And it's given in the scriptures that a Brahmin is an intelligent human being who uses this intelligence to understand his own origin, the origin of the soul, and how to go back to Godhead, understand what Godhead is, and how to go back to Him. That is the definition in our scriptures, in the Vedas, about what a Brahmin is. And a person who doesn't do that, who simply, dies foolishly, is what is given, is simply, engages in animalistic behavior, eating, drinking, eating, sleeping, mating, and defense. He's completely stuck in this loop. He's just doing all of these sense gratificatory things. He wakes up, how do I eat this? How do I engage in sex life? How do I do this? How do I do that? He's just thinking about how do I please my material body more and more and more. He's if he dies like a kripana. A kripana is Sanskrit word for a fool, an unintelligent person. So that is what we should avoid. We should all be aiming to die like Brahmins, because the good thing about Brahmin is that an intelligent person who makes endeavors, like right now, all of you, you have made this endeavor of trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge, Krishna himself says that one who makes a spiritual progress, even if he dies abruptly and he is unable to complete his spiritual progress, in the next life I give him a environment and a condition which is more suitable for him to continue where he left off. It's not like you read the Bhagavad Gita and for some reason you fell into your sense gratificatory things, you died and it's all gone. No, Krishna will in the next life ensure that you start from where you left off. In fact, the fact that all of you have, showed interest towards Bhagavad Gita and are joining classes regularly is because in the past life you must have had made some sort of inquiry, and now God is giving you the same platform. He's given you human life. Human life's only objective is Atato Brahma Jigyasa, which means to understand Brahma, understand the soul, and understand the supreme personality of Godhead. When we do that, then it is the intelligent way. And a Brahmin, even if he dies in the next life, if he is unable to complete his spiritual endeavors in this life, in the next life he's awarded a human body as well, so that he can continue where he's given it. He's born in a more knowledgeable family, a family that's engaged in God consciousness, and then events and circumstances in his life play in such a way that he's eventually brought into spiritual realization. So all of us also, like supposing some we are unable to complete in this life, these endeavors that we make, chanting, reading scriptures, listening to bona fide spiritual masters like Srila Prabhupada, when we do all of these endeavors, it is coming up in our spiritual balance, and that balance is never gone. A person can continue from where he left off. So that is very important. So we have to understand why Maya is coming. So to put the summary of this class today, we first explained what is why are we conditioned by Maya. We are in these three modes of material nature: Rajo, Tamo, and Sattva. Okay, then we need to understand that we are bound by Maya. Why are we bound by Maya? Even though Maya is matter, Maya is inferior energy, because Maya is controlled by the Lord, Supreme Personality of God, is going by His will. And then we are bound by eternity because we are eternal souls, and Maya is also bound by us. So we become Nitya Bandha, which means that we are eternally conditioned. Now, for eternity, we are just in the mode of ignorance, we are continuously in illusion. And uh, again, how can we be free from the Nitya Bandha? How do we free from this trap of Maya, illusionary energy? That comes by uh, falling in, surrendering to Krishna. Surrendering to Krishna. Krishna comes in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna comes in the form of his names. Krishna is absolute, which means that supposing I sit here and I say Coca Cola, Coca Cola, Coca Cola, Coca Cola, I will not get the taste of Coca Cola. I can say it 3 million times, I will not get the taste. But Krishna is absolute. That is relative, what I just said, Coca Cola. But Krishna is absolute. Krishna's name is equal to Krishna. Krishna's pastime is equal to Krishna. Krishna's knowledge, the Bhagavad Gita, is equal to, when you're reading Bhagavad Gita, it's like you're coming in contact with Krishna. Krishna is absolute in nature. Everything relating to Krishna, his activities, his pastimes, his leelas, his names, his knowledge, everything is equal. His is equal to Krishna. That is like you're coming in contact with Krishna. So more endeavors you make, then more one can be free from Maya. And Mam Eva means that Krishna, only Krishna, and no one else, not the fraud gurus and these motivational coaches. Pay $600 and get free from the traps of life. Then you rascal, why are you charging $600? If you were so free, then you should not be charging. You should be beyond all of this. No, everybody's trying to cheat each other. Prabhupada used to say this material world is full of cheaters and cheated people. Who There are 300 people waiting outside to cheat you, and people also are in ignorance. They want the easy way out. Like it's very difficult to go to the gym and make a body, but somebody comes, take this pill and you'll have six pack ab. Oh, yeah, definitely, because the person inside wants to be cheated, and then obviously if there's somebody who wants to be cheated, there'll be 300 people willing to cheat you. So we should not be cheated like that. We should, Mam Eva means only Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees, surrendered souls unto Krishna, can release us from these bounds of Maya. And then he can. So Aditri, since you asked that question, that can we only Krishna can help us cross Maya? Yes, and not only cross Maya very easily. We can get out of these trappings of Maya very easily. So that was the summary of the lecture. If anybody has any questions, any corrections, please unmute and let me know. And if no one has questions, I'll ask some
I
questions.
have said
Yeah. Yes,
again.
go ahead.
What happens to I think I already asked in previous Bhagavad Gita class to one of the Prabhujis. But I'll ask you as well.
Mm,
What happens to people who are very tight, I mean, who have identified themselves with their work so much and then work very hard? For instance, if someone likes mathematics a lot and then after
mm,
practices a lot,
mm,
someone and then he or she thinks that okay, I want to be a great mathematician so that I can
mm,
serve
mm,
country, so that I can help
mm,
people.
mm,
Um, but then he's not tying himself to Krishna, but then he is ultimately thinking of doing betterment of the world because he
mm.
thinks that he's born for something, he's
Correct.
special or she is special and then can change
Mm,
the world in a positive way.
mm.
Does Krishna see that intention and then after he gets mukti or something like that?
Absolutely. So, the in Bhagavad Gita, it's given different ways where people can attain the understanding of Supreme Personality of Lord and eventually attain Godhead. So, one way and the most recommended, easiest way is devotional service to Lord. People who are in knowledge and have completely, do nothing but loving exchange and devotional service to Lord. We can see this in Dhruva Maharaj, who spent his entire childhood in austerities and then very easily in 5 years of age got Krishna to appear in front of him. But then, if people are not able to understand that, then Krishna has given other methods as well. So it's first given that you attain devotional service. Then there are jnanis, people who are too intellectual, so they are not willing to put in devotional service, but they are reasonable people. So you, through intelligence and knowledge, they eventually come to the platform of understanding. Because again, Jiva Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. So they try to fight off their ignorance by intelligence, by knowledge. Then there are people who do, like, supposing they don't have any religious affinity or anything, they start doing a lot of good karma. They help out the poor, they're trying to encourage people, they're doing good activities in the world. If in the next birth they're given birth in like Brahminical family is nothing but environment or families which are conducive to God realization. So a person who's in devotional service of the Lord very easily, sarva dharman paritajya mamekam saranam nama, give up all forms of religiosity or all methods of salvation and simply surrender unto me. That's Krishna's direct advice. If we are unable to do that, then also it's no harm. Like you said, a mathematician, like Einstein, for example, best example is Einstein. Einstein was the greatest intellectual. He found theory of relativity and so many other great discoveries he did. Einstein, at the end, after finding and doing so many great discoveries, he himself said that this universe is so vast and ever expanding and so complex that it is only a fool who will deny the existence of God. There has to be God. Even Albert Einstein himself said this. So in the next life, then these intelligent people are given a family, an environment which is conducive to God realization. All of a sudden, you see their life trajectory, even though they thought will go in this way, it completely turns into God realization. From somewhere they go into God realization. Prabhupada himself was trying to start a very big factory and he had business and everything, but then all of a sudden his life trajectory completely changed because Krishna is the controller. Krishna will bring in circumstances and conditions which will eventually bring you to God realization for your own betterment. So a person who's doing all these activities are that. And if your question is that is everyone, like what if somebody is too much into ignorance, like he refuses to understand God? Well, there are three types of grasses, right? There is one which is dry grass, where you put a little bit of matchstick and you burn it, immediately it'll catch fire. Then there is dampened grass, where you try to burn it. It will take some time, but then even then slowly it will not burn as quickly as dry grass, but it will take some time and burn. And then there's wet grass. Wet grass is very hard to burn because you light in multiple matchsticks. It will first like not even burn, then after a point it will give out smoke, then slowly after a long period of time even that will catch fire, but eventually everything catches fire. Similarly, there are people who very instantly, like you don't need to reason with them or anything like that, very instantly they understand that Krishna's the supreme personality of Lordhead, and they're very devotional to Krishna, which Krishna says is very dear to me, and they very easily attain Godhead. It's not, they don't need to fight their ignorance too much. Then the dampened grass are people who, are too philosophical or too intellectual, where they'll first reason out, oh, God is not there, or this, that. But then through reasoning, if they come in contact with like Bhagavad Gita and all, through reasoning, their own like mental speculations, their own mental inquiries are answered. And over a period of time, even they understand Godhead, even the dampened grass birds. And then there is wet grass, where these people, like they will be in ignorance, they'll completely reject God, they'll purposely do everything against God. But eventually there's a point of time, there's no soul that is suffering for eternity, even though it feels like an eternity. Eventually everybody's position is back to Godhead. It's just that how quickly do you want to get out of this prison? You can either, there are people who stay in prison for a couple of time, they do their time, they do everything properly, the state releases them. The people who are in prison for supposing 5 years, in the prison they are complete, they create complete chaos, they fight, they kill, murder and all. The time increases from 5 years to 10 years. But eventually everybody will come out. It's not like anybody is there for eternity. So a person, even if he's an intellectual, his intelligence, because even the source of maths which you're talking about, maths also comes from Krishna. That knowledge from Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, from me comes intelligence and from me comes forgetfulness. So that intelligence, the ability of one person being able to calculate and come up with these numeric equations, that's also the ability given by Krishna. And if you're talking about mathematics, it's interesting that you talk about it. Have you heard of Ramanujacharya,
Oh my
the
god,
man?
I was about to say you the same
Yes,
thing.
yes. So
Yeah.
Ramanujacharya himself, he was a brilliant mathematician, like brilliant. He invented equations which today's scientists also have not able to. Like he wrote about the black hole equation even
Yeah.
before people didn't even know what black hole was. He was that intelligent. And Ramanujacharya, when asked, and he could just write big complex equations that people in Harvard and Oxford would scratch their head and say, how did this guy figure this out?
I
Very
feel like he
complicated.
said that my Devi bleeds mathematics or
Correct, correct.
something.
My Devi bleeds mathematics. Correct. See, you're an intelligent person. So yeah, even his intelligence came from his Devi, his Ishta Devta, his God, and eventually, and everything, the source of everything is Krishna. So even that intelligence is coming from Krishna. So whether it's intelligence, whether a person is very charitable, eventually all the roots, if not in this lifetime, eventually will lead to Krishna. So I hope I've answered your question, Aditri.
Yes, yes, he did.
Anyone else has any more questions, corrections? Okay, I'll ask some questions in case no one has. Megha, can you explain to me what is marginal energy? Like we understand what is superior and inferior. What is marginal energy?
Um, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just trying to think about it now. Um,
There's no right and wrong, so you can just tell me in your own words.
so wait, so you said there is inferior and superior energy both
Correct.
in addition to marginal energy?
Correct.
So then I get like my understanding of it would probably be that like marginal energy is, I guess the word marginal makes it sound like it's a smaller energy, but if it's not inferior or superior, would it just be like other energy or like other factors around us in the world that like
Uh,
affect us?
Yeah, so marginal energy basically is like I gave an example. A fish is an aquatic animal, lion is a tertiary animal.
Oh yeah.
When a fish falls into the land, He is now, even though he's an aquatic animal, he's in land. So similarly, this living entity that we are eternal, we are superior energy, but we have come into contact with inferior energy. And because of this contact, now we are serving both spiritual energy and material energy at the same time. Sometimes we become very spiritual and we try to attain God. At the same time, sometimes we can fall down and now we start serving matter. And it's given like in the Shastras that people who serves the spiritual, we are serving either of these two. There's nobody who's not serving. Nobody can say I'm the master. Everybody's serving something or the other. Either you're serving God or you're serving the senses. So people who are serving spiritual energy over a period of time, they attain Godhead. Whereas people who are serving material energy, they are in illusion, they are in the traps of Maya, where they're thinking that by doing these endeavors, by getting this car, by getting this desired object, I'm going to be happy. And at the end of the day, he's just illusioned. He gets that thing. Even if he gets that thing, he's, you know, like if you get what you desire, you get greed, and then greed leads to distress. If you don't get what you want, you get krodh, kam krodh. So krodh is when you are unable to complete it, you get frustrated, and that again leads to your distress. So material desire is like that. So that is marginal energy, where energy where the a person is stuck between superior energy and inferior energy, which is basically us. All living conditions, we are spiritual and we are a marginal energy, where even though we are spirit soul, we belong to superior energy. We have come and we have been entrapped nitya bandha by the inferior nature or Maya. Does that make sense, Mega?
Yes, thanks for explaining that.
All right, thank you. Uh, Let me see. Let me ask this other one. So KG Thakur, how do you think we can get out of the traps of Maya?
Well, I think we can get out of the traps of Maya by engaging ourselves in superior activities like chanting, devotional service, and so on. I think that would help.
Correct. So the only way that we can come out of from the traps of Maya is what's given in this verse, which is Mam eva prapandyante. Mam is me. Krishna says that me, only one person who surrenders unto me, he can be released by that. And how do we surrender? Like you said, KG, Krishna is indifferent from his name and his knowledge and his pastimes. So we can engage in these activities, the superior activities, and over a time the illusionary power comes down. You will see like so many people, for example, when Prabhupada used to preach in the West, he was preaching to hippies, people who were like completely fallen, who were sitting in the lap of Maya, people who were drug addicts and smoking, drinking, you name it, they did it. Having the sexual activity all over, like in the cabs and all that. So it was a very bad scene. And when they came, they were basically under illusionary energy. All of them had the desire for pleasure, but they were not getting. They were more and more, entrapped by Maya, and they were suffering a lot. When Srila Prabhupada came and he explained them, gave them the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, very quickly the people who used to drink alcohol stopped having alcohol, non-vegetarian, they started worshipping the Lord, they became pujaris and sannyasis and brahmacharis, very quickly transitioning. That shows you how powerful the Lord is. If he sees that okay, this person is genuinely making an attempt, instantly he can get mired away from your life, instantly you will be free from distresses, because the distress that is coming to you also is by the will and the desire of the Supreme Lord. So the more you are in ignorance, the more you try to run away from it, the more the Maya will catch you. But the second you completely surrender to it, it will very instantly happen. So now if you want to surrender, either you can sit here and argue and waste time, and over a period of time you can understand the that surrenderance and service to the Lord is the only way I can escape this. Or else very simply you can understand, like for example, you see microphone, you ask your father, what is this device? I don't know what this device is. Your father tells you microphone. Now if somebody else asks you, what is this device? You've heard the knowledge, you accept it, and now you tell the other person that this is the microphone. So basically, very instantly you've got that knowledge. That's the same way you can understand, listen to the Bhagavad Gita in the mode of surrenderance, and very instantly the knowledge will fall in. Or else you can use your mental speculation, and over a period of time you can use that, and even that will lead you to devotional spirit. So it's how quickly you want to escape Maya, how quickly you want to fall into devotional service and understand the Supreme Lord. So, given the time, I think I should end the class now. So, any more questions by any chance? Anyone has any questions? No? All right. You guys can unmute, chant, say Hare Krishna, and log out. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.